For those who are new in our community, this is the time when voices from our group of travel leaders try to spread ideas, seeds, and experiences in short talks. Once again, the theme for the next talks is Challenges of Isolation. And our first speaker of the remote seats is Francesco Galli Zugaro. He's the CEO for Aqua Expeditions from Peru, a pioneer as the first luxury small ship river cruise operator in South America 13 years ago. Francesco has also experienced a big challenge in the past year to make a big project come true. To talk about the epic journey of launching an expedition ship under the pandemic, I would like to invite Francesco Galli Zugaro.
Thank you, Daniel, and good afternoon, everybody, from wherever you're joining us. I'm joining you from Singapore, so it's 11:45 p.m., but I've had plenty of coffees as a true Italian, and happy to join you tonight. Thanks, Daniel. What an inspiring talk, and just as a transition, obviously, my talk today is going to be focusing on our parts of the world and where I'm passionate about, and quite a few degrees warmer. So come up a few degrees, a few latitudes and then longitudes, and come up all the way up to the Peruvian Amazon. So I'm going to share a little bit of the story of what I've been up to for the last 12 months or so. And if you can, I believe, see my screen right now, I'm just going to share some inspiring images of what really leads me to do what I love, and I think you should be seeing it now. So as you may or may not know, our company was founded 13 years ago with my love for South American exploration. I cut my teeth into tourism in the Galapagos Islands, but really my true passion came when I started Aqua Expeditions in the Peruvian Amazon. And since then, we've grown the business. I moved to Asia because I fell in love with growing the business in Southeast Asia. We launched our Mekong cruiser. But a few years ago, we decided to grow our business in Peru, and I made the decision, whilst bold and innovative, is still ambitious, to build our new river cruiser for the Peruvian Amazon in Vietnam. The reason I did this was that it obviously made sense to me. Excuse me 1 second. I think you've got here. What is it? Can you see my slides? I think so. You should be able to see it. 1 second. 1 second, always here. You should be able to see it here. And sorry for that, just technicalities always come up when you don't want them to. And that should do it, hopefully. Yes. So the inspiration behind it is obviously a design inspiration. The ships that we build are built on an inspiration of design that obviously stems from South America. It stems from the Peruvian Andes. It stems from modern contemporary design and the colors and the influence of Portuguese azulejos and the tiles and the influence of the rubber boom era. But all this comes into a design process that comes about a year before actual building. Once all those designs are put in place and the actual technical drawings are put in place, then comes the building phase. The building phase today was done in Ho Chi Minh. It started about 12 months ago. And whilst I was there for the launching, come February, when lockdowns happened, I had to revert back to Singapore. I was actually on the last flight out of Lima, where I was on the Amazon. And I came back to Singapore, and since then, obviously, into what Singapore called a circuit breaker. However, during that period, I had to remotely empower a team of incredible, talented individuals over the years that we put together to build Aquanera in Ho Chi Minh. Now, this, as you know, these river cruisers are 5 foot. They have a 5-foot draft. They can only navigate in fresh bodies of water, and have to be heavy lifted in order to transport somewhere else to operate in South America. So this posed an incredible challenge for me during the last 12 months to monitor and oversee a project that from February I had not seen. And this was the last day I was on board, which was in the steel structure. And as you can imagine, these ships are mostly about the interior design aspect, about the attention to details. The steel work is relatively fast. Building that hull and everything to that point took about 3 to 4 months. The rest of the 6 to 8 months is all about the interior design. So that was my last day in the yard. Come circuit breaker in Singapore, everything goes remote, everything goes digital. And I had to create a way in order for these renderings, which are, you know, the opposite images, the far upper right-hand corner and the bottom left-hand corner are renderings of that concept that I had, and then the reality, which is top left and bottom right. And hopefully you can see that, you know, what we designed 2 years ago, we were actually able to deliver on. But to do this all remotely, to inspire a team of professionals in Ho Chi Minh with language barriers, with video Zoom calls, Vietnam luckily went into a lockdown that lasted only 2 weeks. Now, because we decided to build with a military yard and then bring in contractors from around the world, the yard, what they did is during the circuit breaker is during their lockdown, they brought in all our contractors into the yard, closed down the yard for 2 weeks, as you would assume Vietnam was rightly built to do, and then allowed us to continue building through those 2 weeks, then opened up the rest of Vietnam and continued until we took delivery. However, all this has to be done not only with the limitations of travel bans that I was never able to go, but neither were our contractors from abroad. We had to ship everything in and then train locals to obviously do a lot of the interior design work as far as the build-up. So incredible challenges to make it come to life, as you can see in these renderings. I mean, really, you could almost not differentiate between what's a rendering and what not. These are not professionals. These are all taken on my team's iPhones because we haven't even been able to send our professional photographers to see the final product. But look at the tiles here. These are custom-made tiles made in Thailand by artisans that wanted to replicate that feeling of those Portuguese tiles that had an influence in the rubber boom era of Iquitos. Again, lobby spaces. Here we had to bring in lighting experts from Italy, but they had to ship the equipment in, and then their local contractors had built it up. We had acoustic specialists in the dining room. But again, to evoke this feeling of this black water tributary that I wanted, this modern contemporary design, and then obviously to deliver a world-class vessel on the opposite side of the world. And the challenge for me is, okay, how do I get this ship from Ho Chi Minh all the way to South America? Well, the only way to do it was heavy lifter on a massive cargo ship. This was the first time it's ever been done. What comes to mind is maybe a modern day Fitzcarraldo. Really, I wanted to push the envelope, but I need to empower my team. I find a group of individuals who were as passionate and as perseverant as I was to make sure their attention to detail was as spot on as mine and my wife's are with regards to details. And so numerous hundreds of video calls throughout tours at night, during the day with lighting, everything in order to come together, bring these details of hanging the paintings at the right height, getting the right frames of these original antique prints from the Amazon of palm trees, getting the right wood veneers of that architectural feat of a spiral staircase. All this is got to be done remotely. I was sitting in Singapore. Luckily, I had one country which I did have the same time zone, which was Vietnam. Had this been done in Peru, obviously we've got 13 time zone differences. So something was at least lined up to make my life somewhat easier. But then comes the biggest challenge, which is once we took delivery of the ship, which was actually only 2 weeks delayed, and rest assured that if there's one time in my life that I had hoped that something would be delayed, would be this build, because obviously there wasn't no huge imminent rush to get back to South America given the travel restrictions. But notwithstanding all that, I had booked this massive cargo ship called the Svenja out of a company out of Germany to pick her up and transport her all the way to South America. And that can only be done. Every day of delay was a $20,000 ticket. So I couldn't be 1 day late. Luckily, I asked them to slow down on the pedal, and they were coming from Korea, and they picked her up 2 weeks later, which was that God thankful 2 week delay that they gave me. But then came a 3-day lifting job. I hired drones. I sent off 4 or 5 drones, photographers, videographers to monitor remotely how she was being lifted. She's a 700-ton ship being lifted onto a heavy cargo ship, and then navigated basically 11,000 nautical miles from Ho Chi Minh all the way through. She just arrived yesterday into Durban, South Africa to refuel, and then all the way to Belém. So yes, she's heading your way to Brazil, but just for a quick stop as she continues on to Iquitos for the 2,000 nautical mile journey up the Amazon, basically crossing all of South America. So she has to do this on the back of a heavy transport ship. And I was able to luckily see her the other day as she stopped in Singapore for a quick refueling, and then obviously jump on board and see her for the first time. This picture right here and a video that's going to ensue in a few seconds is going to start a video of showcasing how she was being lifted. But to be able to see the fruition of incredible hard work over the last few years, to a design concept, to bring her to reality, to launch her in Vietnam, and to heavy lift her onto this ship, was an incredible opportunity to see her last week in Singapore. She arrives in Belen and then takes 1,100-mile journey up to Iquitos, where she'll arrive end of November. So on that note, I'd like to ask our technical crew to cue in the video, which is a slow-moving video of the journey of the Aqua Nera, as she's due to be called, into Brazil. But she'll arrive on the 17th of October and then make her voyage all the way up to Iquitos. So it's been an incredible journey. I think this is the type of passion that perseveres during these difficult times and allows us to look forward to something grandiose, putting the last difficult months behind us, and hopefully having that window of aspiration to something great, which is what we all strive for, to get our teams and our guests back on board. So I look forward to seeing her in Iquitos when she arrives, and I am excited about those days when I'm able to embark her. As you can see here, she's being lifted onto the Svenja, and it's been an incredible journey to see her. She is 700 tons, really, really, truly spectacular to see. She looks like a toy here. You can see it really is something that I'll only be able to witness once in my life. I missed that opportunity to see her firsthand, but I have to say that it's kept me excited about the industry, about the perseverance and resilience that I have as a team, and also the support that our entire industry has shown to making sure that she is welcome when she arrives, with incredible demand when she is due to restart come the end of the year, whenever that is, hopefully sooner rather than later. But it's been an incredible way to witness something. This is my 5th ship over the last 13 years. And anyways, it's a confirmation that we've built an incredible team, and that this is by no means a solo effort, that this is a team of professional individuals that are here because they love what they do, just like all of you. And this is my passion. I don't see myself doing anything else. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little anecdotes of what we've been up to, but we've definitely been keeping busy. Also, thank you, everybody, and I wish you all a great rest of the show.
Thank you so much, Francesco. I know it's late evening there in Singapore, but we have a few minutes just to ask you some questions here.
Gladly.
The first one, I'm gonna repeat the question that I asked to Suniva. What was the toughest moment for you during all this process as a leader?
I think coming to terms with the fact that I wasn't able to go. I think accepting and kind of surrendering, as they say, surrendering to a team and empowering my team and letting them know early on that we were going to be here in spirit and with all the support systems that we can provide for the team on the ground in Ho Chi Minh, but accepting that and surrendering to that force that just doesn't allow us to. So Vietnam and Singapore have been very strict for numerous reasons, obviously, but the result is there. She's beautiful, she's impressive. I was able to witness her, and I think it's a confirmation of an incredible teamwork.
But was there any moment during the process that you thought about?
Yeah, I think the fingernail biting moment was the actual lifting. To see those first few seconds of those straps lifting 700. So basically, it took us about 4 months of the technical lift plan to figure out stability, logistics, weight distribution on board. I had to hire a company of about 15 individuals to go into the ship and tie down everything, because we don't know what the seat conditions were going to be as she transverses the world over to South America. Now we get daily updates. I can track it online on satellite, and I can track where the Svenja is. But we didn't know. So to see her lift out of the water and then do that strange maneuvering over the decks and pivot onto position and then tie her down. They actually welded her down to the steel plate of the top of the deck. And consider that underneath the Aqua Nera on the main deck is a massive ferry boat underneath her inside the hull. So it's incredible, these feats of modern day engineering, but it still blows my mind.
But at any time did you think about giving up on bringing it in the middle of the pandemic or not?
No, so obviously we've all been pushing the envelope, remaining hopeful. There was a time where I had to confirm the transport of the company, and I knew that if I was going to be late and I wasn't going to be able to deliver, yeah, I was going to pay this $20,000 a day delay fee. And you add the numbers up, 30 days late, and there goes our budget. So I had to those difficult days, but I pursue. I'm very persistent, very determined, and we came through it.
Okay, and Francesco, the cruise industry was very impacted by the pandemic, right? How risky is it to launch a new ship under these circumstances?
So definitely everybody's been hit, but particularly so, I think some of the PR efforts of the larger mainstream cruise industry has been affected. Luckily, I'd like to think that we're in a niche of our own as far as all the small ships. We're 15 to 20 cabins. Many of them are privately bought out. We can control the setting automatically. The ships are 60 meters, where we have a lot of built-in space as well already for our guests. So I think, and we're coastal waters. So I think a lot of concerns regarding mainstream cruising is that you're doing transoceanic voyages and you may get stuck in a foreign port. We're coastal cruising or river cruising because of our new Indonesia cruiser. And so we're never more than a few hundred meters from shore. So we can always disembark our guests. And I think the demand is there from our loyal guests. We've got a very strong book of business going forward and good visibility into future. But obviously travel bans needs to be lifted. So until that happens, we're staying strong.
Okay, we have the last question here. Diana Moschini is asking, how did you motivate and transfer your passion for the project to the local team in a remote way?
Well, this has been a team that's been with me building the Aqua Mekong 4 years ago. So already I lead by example. I'm the one that kind of just leads by, jumping in there and rolling on my sleeve and getting into the yard and spending days on end in the yards. And they saw that passion come through with the Aqua Mekong. And I think as I lead that way, they saw that we put our blood, sweat, and tears into these ships. Every ship we build, even though it's 5 and it's been nothing, we never bite off more than we can chew. These are labors of love. And so the way I take care of our crew, the way we take care of our crew, the way we take care of our ship, they've seen that kind of passion come through. And I think that's the same way that they knew we expected them to take care of the building process of the Aquaneta. And they've delivered with no hesitation.
Thank you so much, Francesco. Do you want to share any final message to our audience?
No, I'm just super excited about the industry we're in. I'm committed as ever to this industry and really more in love than ever with the destinations that we operate in. South America has obviously been where I started and where my passion will always lie, but we've had to grow the business and look forward to welcoming the industry supporters, our clients, and our guests in the future. So thanks for the opportunity to share my story.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Francesco. Have a good night there in Singapore.